Okay, so we're going to start getting into some more tests, go a little deeper. This is called a capacity test. All right, this is a test that tests the same load the starter would put on the battery. So we simulate it, we see how it reacts. We have two of these chargers. You're going to see the videos of them. One of them is a Snap-on AVR tester, and the other one is an associated battery tester. So I made small videos of those. You're going to see those in a little while. We have to start with a charged battery. We determine the spec, which is either 50% of cold cranking amps, 3 times the amp hour rating of the battery, or what the vehicle manufacturer specifies. So we're going to look at the sticker on it. Usually cold cranking amps is the one that shows, and whatever it is, we go half. If it's 410, we go 205. If it's 500, we go 250. That's our spec that we go with as a failsafe. What happens with the manufacturer's spec will be the demand that's on that battery, but you can certainly put a bigger battery in than it comes with. All right, so that's your kind of ranges. You're going to connect the load leads to the battery, positive to positive, negative to negative. You're going to read the voltmeter while applying the load for 15 seconds. See that big dial that's over there? It's a carbon pile load, and it smokes. It's pretty exciting. So you're going to take it, and you're going to turn it real fast, and you're going to hold it for 15 seconds, counting in your head. Newer units actually count down for you, and you're going to watch the voltage. There's a readings chart, but basically, if the voltage is below specs, observe the level for 10 minutes. If the voltage rises to 12.45 volts or higher, the battery is no good. If the voltage falls below 9.6 volts, the battery is either no good or low on charge. And that's the problem with this test. You do it, it falls below. Well, we got to charge it. So now we have to charge it for an hour. We charge it for an hour, we do the test again, it still falls below. The battery's no good, we wasted an hour. Okay? So you watch that voltage. You're counting in your head. You're making sure you're holding that amperage steady, and you watch that voltage. As soon as it drops below 9.6, you're done. It's either no good or low on charge. There's no sense cramming it into 7-volt range.
Okay, now I'm going to show you a capacitance test using an AVR tester. All right, this one is going to actually physically measure the amount of cranking amps in the battery by how it performs. All right, so negative to negative and positive to positive. We're going to be loading the amperage manually. So we want to measure the current rolling through the tester's leads, okay, because the tester is what's doing this. So we have a little arrow on here someplace, right there, okay, and that's going to point towards current flow. So I have it pointing away from the positive terminal. If we're wrong, we get a negative symbol. Right, so we're going to look at the tester now. Notice this dial right here. Right, it's called a carbon pile load. And that's going to put the same kind of load that the starter would put on the system. Right, so the first thing we do is we take this lead off. Right, so we took this off, we hit 0, so we're zeroed. Put it back on now. So the rule is half, whatever CCA is in half. So it's 540 cold cranking amps, so we are going to load it at 270. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to turn this dial. We have to watch both of these at the same time. We're going to get it to 270 and hold it there for 15 seconds. Okay? So we have to count 15 seconds, and we got to look at both values. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but that battery voltage was down to 7.5 volts. 7.5, right? That's below the value it's allowed. If you remember, 9.6 is the lowest it can go. So that means that this battery is either bad or low on charge, right? If this battery was healthy, we would have held it for 15 seconds and the voltage would not have dropped below 9.6 volts. Now you can see that this is not the best test because there's two possibilities. Either it's bad or it's low on charge. So we would have to charge it for an hour, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, and then test it again. If it was bad, we wasted that time. Compare that to the conductance charger that we did, and you'll see how that one is a much better test for accuracy. Okay, so this is our other AVR tester. Okay, this one also puts a heavy load on it that simulates the starter. Right, so it's the same kind of hookup as before. Red to positive, black to negative. On the back you have an amp clamp. Right, it needs to be turned on in order to make it work. Right, here's where it would be if it was 200 amps, but we're going to load test this at what, 270? So we got to put it to 1,000. Right, we'll turn that on after we hook up our leads, and then we're going to zero it just like we did before. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here for now. And hook this up. Clamp. All right, we're going to turn it on. We're going to put it to 1,000. Okay, now over here, I'll delay this right here for now. You can see the battery voltage, 12.2. It's showing minus 124 amps. So we can turn this. And notice it gets all crazy. So let's hit the 0 button, auto 0, and see what happens. Now we can tailor it and get it to 0. Now same thing, there's an arrow on this, and the arrow is going to point to current flow. Alright, you got these symbols over here. I suspect that might be pointed towards ground. So we're going to put that on the positive, pointed towards ground, and we'll see what happens. Right, same thing, 15 seconds. "15 seconds watching both of those. Well, notice we go backwards, so our lead, we've got to turn that around. So the lightning bolts are now facing the positive terminal on the battery. Ready? So we got to crank it quick. Okay, notice it's fallen. It fell below that 9.6 number. It was in the 8s. It fell into the 7s. So we see the same result as we did before. Right? So this is a battery that's low on charge. We don't know whether it's good or not. So we'd have to put the time in to charge it up and then test it again. Right? So just like that red tester, works the same way. Very important when you're done, turn it off.